Here I am. Ah, hey, Julianne. I had to go out and come back in and adjust the camera. The camera was an infinite buffer going woo, woo, woo. So this one is way overdue. Jasmine Crockett is being investigated by the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission, for fraud because she has been reporting that she's been getting a lot of donations from specific people. And when her opponent recently went to one of them that reportedly gave 16,000 and something dollars, they said no, they did not give that kind of money, that they don't have that kind of money. And so you notice suddenly that she's absent. She went from what I call the ghetto congresswoman everywhere running her mouth to she's nowhere. Cannot find her anywhere. I find that all interesting. That all of a sudden, nope, not only is she not accountable, she's just apparently gone. And so I watched part of the clip with President Trump with President of El Salvador, Bukele, and Caitlin Collins running her mouth saying that, you know, this was a citizen that was returned for no reason, and Pam Bondi happened to be there. And she spoke up and she said, excuse me. She said in 2019, two separate courts found him to be a member of MS 13. She said an immigration court and an immigration appeals court both found that he was a member of MS 13. She said that alone denies him any entrance to the country. She said next, the Supreme Court ruling says that it is the president of El Salvador's uh, decision to facilitate his return. And she said, so we're going to ask the president of El Salvador to facilitate the return of one of their citizens who's a member of a terrorist gang. And she said, then we're going to send him back there. So that's what's going on in that corner of the world. Welcome to everyone on X that's joining us. Feel free to leave a comment, state your name. Well, not your name. State where you're from. I live in Montana. Yeah, Act Blue paid a lot of Democratic politicians that they should have known better, but instead they were along for the grift and just said, "Yeah, we'll take the money." And they're going to try to say, "Oh, well, that was illegal." Well, I was not told it was illegal. That don't mean nothing. Right. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, is right. But she's suddenly quiet. Don't hear a thing out of her. Or before, it's all you heard is her running her mouth. Really? I didn't hear about Caroline's lawsuit. What is Caroline suing over? Oh my. So you think she can get him for slander? Slander and malice aforethought? You should not be making fun of people, right? I mean, I'm very careful at how I word things. Oh, goodness. Here, I got an audio. Well, it's a video clip, but we can play the audio. This is what we've been talking about.
Two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork that needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
You are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. You just also respond to that question because it's asked by CNN and they always ask for the slant.
Can you hear that okay?
I don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's a legal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13.
Hello, Stephen Miller.
President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization. That meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither the Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for any help to get him out?
What was the ruling early in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
In our favor.
in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel a foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he's a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it for the court can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele, can President Bukele weigh in on this?
Caitlin Collins isn't the sharpest tool in the drawer. After both Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller explained it, which Stephen Miller explains things very good. They're talking about Mr. Abreu Garcia. The guy to the left says was just a hairdresser. No, he was an MS-13 gang member. And the court said it was up to the country of El Salvador to return him. And it was a 9-0 ruling, which those are kind of rare. Those are very rare, huh? No, he's not an American now. He never was an American. He's a citizen of El Salvador and came here to spread the MS-13 gang, and he got caught. And he had an existing order of deportation because they're stupid. They think that he's an American citizen that accidentally got deported. No, it's not the way that happened at all. See, he's engaged to an American woman, but he never married her. He said in 2019 that they were engaged and they were going to get married soon. They still are not married. Right. But it's just kind of shocking and kind of odd that two separate immigration courts found that he was indeed a member of MS 13. And the lunatic left says, no, no, he was never a member of MS 13. And he never had a deportation order. Well, two separate immigration courts found that he was an MS 13 gang member and that there was an existing deportation order. Liberals lie all the time. All right, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back at 2 Eastern Time tomorrow. Thank you. Take care. Hey, Zach, how are you doing, Zach? Yeah, we hope that California doesn't fall into the ocean, but yeah, we've been going for 24 minutes. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Crockett is in a lot of trouble. Yeah, slander is profitable until you get caught and then they take your profits away, right? All right. I'm out of here. We've been going for almost a half hour. We will see you again at 2 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Take care. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.